everybody. Welcome to the Recycled Crafts very first program in anticipation for Mother's Day or, just friendship bracelets or anything like that. Today, our craft is going to be making paper bead bracelets or just paper bead anything that you want to make, really. I made a bracelet because I thought that was going to be a nice thing to show. And this is all really simple. It's all things that you have probably around your house. So we're going to make these beads using some paper. It could be any kind of paper, like it could be old damaged books. It could be newspaper. It could be a coloring page that you colored on and you didn't like how it turned out. You could draw your own designs on any kind of computer paper. It could be Christmas wrapping paper that you have left over. Any kind of paper works. We will also be needing some kind of string. So I have this elastic string at my house, but I understand that a lot of people probably don't. What you can use instead, if you don't have any kind of string, is you can use floss. Floss works just as well as string. It just won't have the stretchy quality to it. So if you're using floss, you want to give yourself a little bit more than what I gave here, because this is stretchy and floss will not stretch. You will need something to wrap the paper around. So I have a toothpick. If you have like a skewer at home, you can use that, or you could even use a pencil, something small and round that will allow you to wrap the beads onto. We will need glue. You can use regular Elmer's glue or a glue stick. And then it's entirely up to you what surface you want to do this on. I'm using tin foil because it's a little bit easier to clean up and I have an abundance of it at home. We will need scissors, something to dry the beads on. So I'm using half of a cut paper tube, or I guess toilet paper tube. And I'm using nail polish to coat the outside of the beads to make them a little bit shinier, a little bit harder, but you can also just use regular glue for that as well. You will also need a pen or pencil. So I have a pen. You could end up using the same pencil that you're using to make the beads. And then you will also need a ruler or some kind of just straight sheet of paper. Well, that was not straight on that side here. This side is straight. So this is how we're going to get started. Also, because this does involve cutting and gluing, any smaller children who are not quite able to do this yet, it would be really great to have adult supervision for this particular project. Also, it's just a really fun project to do together as a family. So what you're going to do is you're going to start out with your paper. Again, I didn't damage a book on purpose. This was an already damaged book, so I feel okay using it. Kids, do not damage your parents' books unless they tell you that you can do so. So you want to make an angled cut. You want it to be tapered, and tapering is when something gets smaller as it moves forward. So just to show you, I'm using the straight edge of this other piece of paper. It doesn't have to be completely straight. And then I made one long line like this. And then you can just keep going off of that. You can make a couple more. So each of these strips is going to be one bead. And so if you have a straight line like I just made, then angle the paper again. And you just draw another line, angling it that way. So then what you're going to do is you're going to cut along these lines. And then as you cut, you will see that it turns into this triangular shape. So in order to save time and make sure that you guys aren't just watching me cut out a bunch of things this whole time, I had already created a bunch of strips from a previous day. So what we're going to do, once you have a bunch of these strips cut out, or you could do it one by one if you really want, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of these, we're gonna lay it on our work surface, and then I will show you on this colored pencil because it's a little bit larger, and then I'll do one on the toothpick over here. So we're gonna take our glue. I happen to have a glue stick, but again, if you want to use regular Elmer's glue, I would suggest putting it into a little bowl and mixing in a little bit of water so that way it's not just straight glue. It'll dry a little bit faster that way as well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the biggest part of the paper and we're gonna fold it or wrap it around your round utensil. And then see how I have kind of like a little triangle, like a little house shape over here. What I'm gonna do is you want this to overlap just a little bit, and I'm creasing it. And so that way, there we go. So that way, when I do put glue on it, it should stay in this shape and it won't get stuck to the pencil. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some glue. Ooh, mine's a fancy purple glue. Gonna put some glue down here. And then what I did was I wrapped around this square piece and I just start rolling it up. So now we want to put glue on the rest of the paper. This is why I like to use a glue stick, so I can just kind of pull the paper underneath the glue stick. And this is also why it's very important to do something on a surface meant for getting messy. So then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna wrap this paper around on the pencil, and it is a-okay for it to be a little wonky, a little bumpy along the way, because that just gives the bead a little bit more texture. So I see I need a little bit more glue on the end there. Put a little bit more. All right, so now we made a bead. Check that out. So here's the part that's gonna get really interesting. You can either go around the outside with glue to make it nice and shiny. You can leave it just like this and let the glue dry on the inside and then pull it off of the pencil. See, it stays in place. Or you could get some nail polish out if you have access to nail polish. I'll show you some with the clear nail polish. And you just paint the nail polish on. So see how it's getting a little glossier? This will also just help to protect the bead a little bit from water if you're gonna wear the bracelet or earrings or whatever you're gonna make out of these outside. You just wanna lightly coat it, but don't paint onto the pencil. Ooh, I just did, because it might get stuck. So we don't want that. So now if you are painting onto the bead with any kind of nail polish or glue, what you want to do is you want to just set it down on top of something so that way the bead isn't touching anything, and you just let it dry. So while that is drying, I will show you how to make one on a toothpick. This is much, much smaller. This will make the beads much tinier, and you'll see the difference when we're done. So it's the same general concept though. We're gonna fold the paper over the toothpick and make a crease. I use my fingernails for it. You can just push it down with your finger, but see, it just kind of sits in there. So now we're gonna take our glue and we're gonna glue the paper like so and fold that over. So now I'm gonna put a little bit more glue because I made a pretty big crease there. So let's glue down this paper. All right, now we're just going to roll, and here we go. And this one is a little bit more difficult because you got to make it really, really tiny. So we're gonna keep on rolling and keep on rolling. And if you don't make straight lines on your cuts, if it's like a little bit wobbly, that'll actually change the shape of your bead a little bit. It'll kind of create more of an interesting design on there. You could always try new things, try cutting out different shapes and seeing what those do. Just experiment. So here, now you can see that this bead is much smaller. So I'm going to show you, use a nail polish that isn't clear. I'm going to show you what happens. It's pretty cool. So if you don't have clear nail polish, or if you just want to paint your beads, if you don't like the paper you're using, you can just paint the beads. Whoa. So here we go. I'm going to paint this bead. And this way you could use all the same paper and make different colored beads, or you can draw designs on the beads with this paper, with nail polish if you want, if your parents let you use nail polish, or an adult, whoever is with you. You could also do this with markers, anything you want to change the colors of the beads. All right, so now, see, so this one is now this color. How fantastic. So I'm going to place this one on another little drying rack. So what we're going to do, I could keep showing you how to make these beads, but I think that is the gist of it. I'll make one more, and then, let's see, and then we'll work on stringing the beads. So again, you take the toothpick and the paper, you fold this over, and then you glue. I really like working with glue sticks. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. But you use whatever is easier and what you have on hand. All right. So again, we're rolling this around. It doesn't have to be perfect. Can even be all over the place. Let's see, get a little bit more glue on the bottom there. Sometimes you have to put more glue on the edge because it'll dry a little bit quicker. And you want to make sure that the very tip of the paper does stay down. So here we go. So this is another finished bead. So I'm going to put the cap on my glue. And now I will show you how to string the beads together. Oh, you know, here. So the thing with the nail polish is that it dries really, really quickly. That's another reason why I like it. I'll move this, that way everyone can see. It dries really quickly, so it's already dry. You can see how much larger you can see how much larger the hole is of the bead compared to the toothpick hole if you use a colored pencil or a pen or anything like that. And so you can always experiment with the size of the beads too if you use different utensils to wrap them, or you could add more paper around it to make it a thicker bead. The possibilities are endless. So what we're going to do, I will show you, well, we already have this one with the string that's stretchy. So I'll show you with some floss what we can do. So the great thing about floss is that it already has this little handy cutter. I'm not going to be making a full bracelet, but what you're going to do, here you can see, you're going to just put the bead onto the floss like that. And then you have one bead. And then you put the second bead on, and then here, I think this one's, yep, this one's dry. So now I'm going to put this one on as well. You might need some assistance to tie a knot. I'm not sure what skill level you're at. So how I tie a knot usually, apologies for my dog barking in the background. I tie the knot by, I slip one piece under like this. So now you have this little tie, and then like that. Oh, I didn't do it. Do it again on top like this. And then you have a knot. So my other little bead fell into this big bead. So that's the other thing that you have to really think about. If you're going to use big beads and small beads, you should probably use all the same bead size, because this one is now stuck inside of that one. But oh well. Anyway, when you create enough that you think you'll have enough to go around a wrist or whatever, you could just keep adding beads, tie the knot, and then you have a beautiful little bracelet, just like this. Or if you choose to make a necklace, that's also great. So I would love to see what you've made. If you wanted to post anything in the comments, post anything to our Facebook page on the Walnut Street West Facebook page where you found this video. I would love to hear from you, and hopefully you have somebody in your life that you can give this pretty little bracelet to. Thank you for joining me. Have a great day.